welcome to probably one of the last videos on Forza Motorsport 7 for a while. And I thought, well, this game has had a lot of controversy around it in regards to its quality. So I thought I would do a final wrap-up on it. Share my opinions, my thoughts. Obviously, they are just opinions, so don't take them personally, but it is the internet after all, so that's probably impossible to ask, but, you know, it's worth a shot. And let's kick it off with the car list. Now, obviously, this car here that I'm driving is the 911 GT2 RS, and it is, well, perfect. And on top of that, the car list is also perfect. But that does get us into some muddy waters. Because, you see, I'm going to start by talking about the DLC. And that has been the main point of criticism for the game. Now, obviously, you can never please anybody, or everybody, I should say, everybody with these car packs. But I must concede that some of these car packs were utterly rubbish and awful. But we're going to start off with the good ones, though. Like, say, for instance, I think it was it's the second car pack. That got a lot of hate because it had it had a, I don't remember what it had, but it did have one standout, absolutely phenomenal car. This Alfa Romeo Gia Quadrifoglio, I think. And it is quickly become one of my favorite cars in the game. It is just so much fun from standard. And, yeah, I love it. But there have also been cars like this one. This is the Nissan Safari. And it doesn't look very good. It's not very fast. It has a okay engine swap, but it's a little generic. And you don't get any very cool modifications to it. You get to make it into a pickup truck. And you get to change the bumpers, and that's it. So it really is utter rubbish. And it's not even slow as the new fast car, because the gearbox is crap. And that was just one of the generally bland DLCs. So I can see why people are such cross with this DLC system. Heck, we didn't even get an expansion. I think this is the first Forza since 4? I think 4 had an expansion, I'm not sure about that, but I know 5 did, I know 6 did. Horizon franchise obviously had Rally and Storm Island and Porsche and all the other maps for Horizon 3. So, in fact, they made an emphasis on it that you already have the Horizon 4 car expansions already done, just so they can remedy their problem with this game. In the fact that we never got one. Which is strange, because they had an ISMA partnership, and they had a Rallycross partnership, and they never utilized it, really. Which doesn't make much sense. But anyway, that's all for the car list and any DLC. What if we talk about the racing aspect of this racing game? I think that is pretty fair. Now, I start off with a pretty big problem. You see, when you go into free play, as I just did, you have to go, if you want to do the races that I do, the one-make races, you can't pick. It's based on division. There's nothing wrong with that, but in order to do anything, you have to go into advanced restrictions, driver buckets, score independently, because they don't do it independently. Then it will homologate every vehicle to a specific class that you are driving. So, for instance, if you're driving a Focus, and you're racing against a Ferrari 458, that 458 will only have about 300 horsepower. And then you have to use, this is your group, so you basically use yourself as one group, and you leave everything else the same. And then you have to individually, and to turn off upgrades so they can't cheat. Even though they cheat anyway on unbeatable difficulty. Basically what they did is, Pro is the hardest difficulty that Unbeatable was in Horizon in Forza 6. And then Unbeatable in this game is extra power. They just give the AIs more power than they should have in the restrictions. Or than the car can physically have. For instance, the GTX if you put that car on Unbeatable, it gives you 2,700 horsepower, as opposed to the 2,000 horsepower you get from the base car. So they had to change in these, and it is all very, very complicated. Well, once you get all that sorted out, the racing can be absolutely incredible. We're going 4 wide in racing trucks at C-Ring. That's another thing this does very well. We are going 4 wide in racing semi-trucks. What other game lets you do that? That's the main benefit of being a Forza player. No other game lets you go 3 wide constantly. And the AIs, except for the intro, the first corner, we got lucky with this one, because if you're using the individual specs, like the ones that I showed you in the beginning, and not the pre-made ones, the AIs will, for whatever reason not known to man, slam on their brakes before turn 1. Before they go into the corner. They will slam on their brakes, stop, maybe even go in reverse. And it will just be misery. So, after you get past turn 1, the racing is phenomenal, but since half the field breaks and separates themselves, it's almost impossible to get good racing after that. But sometimes you get, if you use these homologation classes, which I'll get into homologation later, it does work. And I must admit, the AIs are better, except for the braking. They're much better than Forza 6. You see, Forza 6's problem is they didn't know how to get around stuff, and well, they still don't know how to. They're much less likely to get in the problem in the first place, which is always good, because, I mean, we're going 2 wide continuously. That's not me making the pass. They're actually overtaking and fighting back and stuff, which is always nice to see. Sure, they're a little bit tame occasionally, but overall, they are actually a very solid system, again, except for the start. So, say you get bored of single player, there's always multiplayer, which has been a universal struggle for online racing games. And this is my pleasant surprise. You see, I just went into a C-class lobby out of random, and I did a 4 or 5 races, and I showed 2 here. The first one being at Road Atlanta, and you can see no one's crashing. Well, we did have a minor incident where a El Camino decided that I wasn't on the side of him, so he took the apex, and I was alongside, so I kind of got bullied off the grass, and when you brake, cause an accident, wasn't very fun. But after that, it was pretty solid, actually. No major complaints. There were a few crashes afterwards, but I wasn't involved with them, and we actually had some battles. My cars are crap, because I can't build cars to save my soul in racing. In the Forza 7, I am building fine in Horizon, but I can't build a crap in the Motorsport franchise. So I sucked. But the point is, I actually had some decent racing. I mean, here we're going 2 wide. I mean, I run wide, but the point is, we went 2 wide, and nobody died. Nobody got intentionally crashed into. That was a bit of a bump on accident, but it wasn't too shabby. We had overtakes, we had dives on the inside. I was able to use my stupendous straight line speed, and then, yeah, they kind of did some tandem drifting. Wasn't really ideal, and I lost a place and quickly gained it back. So, you know, we have 4 cars battling for position. So it wasn't too terrible, but Monaro got very unlucky. I crashed into him when the El Camino forced me off the road. Then someone else bumped into him. He had a bad race. But the point is, we have 3-4 car packs going around corners, and on the most part, it's pretty darn clean. And you see we're about to go 2 wide into the corner. And no one's dead yet. No one's dead. We're going 2 wide. He goes around the outside. I cut back to the inside. I mean, then another car cuts back in on me. It is actually proper racing. Do you ever expect that from a multiplayer lobby? but Forza 7 has actually pulled it off in a way that's believable. And I'm very proud of them. I mean, look at this. This is another race that I did. And, again, my car is crap, but we are easily now doing 3-car battles with vastly different cars. All-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, modern day. And we're not crashing into each other. And this is during very heavy fog, very heavy foggy conditions, so it's not very easy to see the cars. And we're going on the outside, going on the inside, taking dives on each other. I mean, it is proper racing. And sure, there was a few lockups. There was a crash at the very beginning, but now we're solidly 2x2, almost 3 wide, heading into this corner. And I mean, it's legitimate. It's not some guy pits you and that's how you get the position. We're using straight line speed. We're using better lines out of corners. It was spectacular. On a side note, I don't know how this is possible, but my little Fiesta there was the fastest of the 4 that we were looking at. And it has 260 horsepower? Don't know how that works, but there you go. Just wanted to point that out when I was actually overtaking people on the straight. But yeah, I am very impressed, in summary, with Forza, because these are awful conditions to race in. If you race on these in Forza 6, we're going 3 wide. 3 wide. There's a little bit of an argy-bargy, but no one got sent flying off the track, no one got any damage. It was proper, good, clean racing. And I must say, that is one of the best things that this game does. The Alpha died by getting a wheel on the grass in the braking zone, but on every other occasion, the racing was clean, fun, and perfect, really. Let's discuss the final aspect of this game, your cars, and how you use them. Now, obviously you could buy cars, but the problem is, only about 2/3 of the cars were actually unlocked. So, the Holden was locked. What else was locked that I can easily remember? The camper van was locked, as well as a few of the Evos were unable to be bought because you had to win them through prizes or prize crates, which got removed because that got so much backlash. What was another one that was really, not very fun for me? It was over here. Where is it? It was the Ford GT Le Mans car. Down here. Sorry, down here. Right there. And that really annoyed me because it is my favorite and it is the fastest GT car in the game. It's just undeniable. It's highest ranked. Besides maybe the DVR1, it's one of the fastest. And you couldn't buy it. You couldn't get it. The only way you could get it is if you finished the 4-hour-long Sebring 300 race for the campaign, which we'll get into the campaign right about now, but 4 hours. That is stupid. It's right here. I've never finished it. I finished every single endurance race except for the Le Mans 250 and the Sebring 300. The Sebring 300 takes me over 3 hours. It's just a fact. And after a while, they did finally give us the whole car list, but I would have liked it from the get-go. But there you go. You could use the auction house, but you couldn't get the GT, the Ford GT, from the auction house. So it was you had to finish the race, or you couldn't have it at all. I mean, you could rent the cars during a race, but that's all you could do. And then we get to the upgrades. Now, the incredible basket system has since been replaced with the old-fashioned buy something, you wait for it to be installed after about 7 years, and then you move on. So, say I want to upgrade the tires, you go all the way over here. I want sport tires, and then I want to go over here. I want to go back to the stock tires. Now, doing that is a little bit faster, so here's a better example. Maybe, no. Okay, we're going to use... Nope. Also, you don't have the quick upgrade. It's now quick homologate to the car restrictions, not the actual class you want to go into. Because class racing does not exist in this game until about 3 weeks ago. No, 3 months ago. Sorry, 3 months. So, let's go over here. I want to buy that, and it takes forever. So, yeah, it's a terrible system. I don't know why the basket system is limited to the Horizon franchise. So, that is a bit of a letdown. Also a bit of a letdown, no 1500 horsepower V8, or V12, sorry, V12. One thing I do like, however, is the reward system. This has stayed the same. You can get 3 choices. You can get a car, you can get money, or you can get a racing suit. Now I have the Ken Block suit on because I like it. Here's the problem with the racing suits. You would never, ever want to pick one. Because, well, they're not worth anything. When you could get a $400,000 NASCAR for free, or you could get 50 grand if you need money, why would you ever, in your right mind, pick a racing suit which you can't sell, can't trade, and only makes you look better? So, I don't understand the point of it. So you see how I got the Toyota, and now I can go get a Maserati, which is actually very cool. And it can give you discounts on cars that you might want. But, yeah, my main fault with this game is the fact that it didn't seem finished. It seemed like they went on holiday for about 6 months after Horizon 3 came out, and then realized, oh, our game's due by E3, aw crap, we haven't even written the code yet. And they pasted something together, forgot all the sponsorship deals, forgot all the cool cars they wanted to add, forgot any racetracks they wanted to scan extra for expansions, didn't add any multiplayer, drag racing, or free play or tag until well after the game, and then sent it on its way. Which is annoying because I like this game. And it's a shame to see it so let down. Forza 6 had it pretty darn nailed except for the free play lobbies. And then they did the opposite of improving on it. That is the problem with Forza 7. They took the very good formula of Forza 6 and then made it worse. They had worse DLCs, they had no expansions, they forgot about multiplayer, they forgot about rivals, they still haven't fixed rivals, by the way. They didn't use Horizon 3's bucket system, and on top of that all, it is way more prone to crashing. I don't have it too much, it happens occasionally still, but many people had problems crashing. It's just an incomplete game. And yet, I would still rank it very well. I understand why people voted very highly for this game. Here's the problem right now. Forza has 0 competition. 0. You would say Gran Turismo Sport, but it doesn't have the freedom. It doesn't have the customization options. You can't swap engines in that game. You can't make custom races. There's no showcase events. There's no drag racing. Project Cars 2, well, the handling is absolutely atrocious, and there's no upgrading at all. And Need for Speed, well, that's an open world game, so that's a battle for Horizon, which Horizon has been dominating for the last several years. So, Forza's had no real reason to innovate. So, why do anything if no one's going to compete with you? Because the graphics are stunning, the car list is very big and very detailed. I like the car list. It just lacks competition. Forza needs competition to renovate their game, and then it would be absolutely perfect, I feel. But in its current state, it is good, but it has flaws. And would I recommend it? If you're a creative person, and you like to do things that other games will never let you do, then absolutely. If you're a more serious hardcore racer that has a multi-monitor setup with a Logitech wheel or whatever, then you probably don't want this game. But, yeah, I think that's pretty comprehensive, really. So, that is going to be it for a very long time, if not forever, on Forza Motorsport 7. I'll be back, not sure, with more.